What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Welcome to Texas Podcast. Thank you for all the new subscribers, all the day ones, all the likes, comments, feedback. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. How's everybody out there doing? Uh, Hopefully everybody's having a. Let me see. Sometimes I'll be losing track of my days. So it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, y'all. So hope that everybody's having a good Tuesday. I went back earlier. Well, not earlier, just a few minutes back. I went to go see what Mark Moore's been posting. You know, see what he's been talking about. Because I honestly, I haven't been watching any of the shows or any of the channels. I'm being honest. I went back and I watched a little bit of Mark's channel, right? And I guess he's beefing with the people that brought him on YouTube. I see one video he got to titled "Calling Dante Out." Pull up. Said him and his boys out there drinking coffee, gonna be waiting for him. So I don't know. I guess there's trouble in paradise. I didn't know. I didn't know that it was that much trouble in paradise. But you know, I see Mark's video and I see his frustration, man. Right, and a lot of his frustration towards Dante and June and all them guys is merited, man. And, it has value to why he's mad and upset towards them people. I would too. You know what I mean? He's kind of figured it out that it's all a bunch of deceit, uh, deception, uh, false, fake narrative. I'm pretty sure he's probably more mad at them guys than what he is at me. I mean, I'm just attacking him about what he said, right? I'm not making stuff up. I'm not photoshopping him. I'm not accusing him of being caught with some dude named Peanut in a hotel. All this stuff is wild, man. It's like Mark put his trust in these people, right? And all they did was just make a mockery out of him. So I can kind of understand why Youngblood's over there and interacting with Mark, right? It's because you as a human being, man, you get kind of like a soft spot, right? You see Mark, he's going through it because he got bamboozled. He got bamboozled, right? They told him, man, you're gonna be the next big thing. Woo woo woo. We're gonna help you do this, do that. Don't say this, do this. And at the end of the day, man, they just threw him out there, right? They just threw him out there. Threw him out to the dogs. Say, hey, if you fend for yourself, we're gonna still make fun of you. We're gonna still make content. We're gonna still make narrative off of you. I see there's a trouble in paradise. That shit's wild. But the same people that he's going against were the same people that were helping him. The same people that were doxing people for him, doing all this. That's why there's no loyalty, man. There's barely any kind of loyalty amongst the people you grew up with and you know each other for life. There's barely any kind of loyalty there sometimes. So then to get online and on social media and expect loyalty from somebody else that you just met at your expense, You got Mark over there almost in tears in most of his videos, man. Most of his videos of how depression is killing that man now. Y'all, I mean, the same teams that was out there to help him is basically the same teams giving this guy depression, man. Making him go through it. They're giving them the blues. And it ain't even me. And I'm the one that's hit him with the facts, right? He's more concerned about these guys spinning false narrative. I don't care about the false. It don't bother me, man. You got to come at me with the facts for it to bother me. But Mark gets bothered by the petty stuff. Y'all got that dude almost crying in most of his videos, man. I'm about to back up, man. They can have it. That shit sounds like almost like me, man. They almost had me defeated. I've been there, man. It's uh I guess that's it, man. You know, you gotta walk in a man's footsteps to know what he's going through, right? You know, Mark, when I hear Mark say, "Oh man, y'all gonna have it," you know, I've been there, man. I felt that, man. You know, because you don't want to go with so much false and fake narrative, man. You know, because it seems like every day is going to be a new false fake narrative. Every day is going to be a new. Nobody's going to come with the facts. And I can see Mark. Mark's like a torn down man, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure his guilty conscience is already that in itself, man. That in itself, man. I guess it would be torture, man. And then having everybody else that was supposed to back you up and back up your play, just basically just. So I can see the depression hitting Mark, man. That this YouTube's not for everybody, man. I can be the first one to tell you this YouTube's not for me. I just do it just for the fuck of it, man. Just to show that hey, I ain't no punk bitch. And that's the only reason I do it for. Not for the money or, you know, the victims. You know, you clearly the victims don't care about what happened to them. So, uh, it's a touchy subject, man. It's either you're going to be on that side of the fence or you're going to be on this side of the fence. And you know, a lot of people that are rocking with Mark, I don't I don't I don't see if you're going to support one for what they did, you're going to support them all. That's just my thing. You know what I mean? But nobody wants the facts, man. Nobody wants to get to. Nobody wants the truth. That's what I realized. Nobody wants the truth, man. I haven't been watching none of these other channels. Nobody's channels I've been watching really, right? I just been watching the channels that I enjoy watching. I'm just I just want to know why is everybody flip flopping on no Mark? That's what I want to know, man. Everybody's flipping on old Mark. These are the same people that were doxing people, right? Putting people's information out there. You know, putting my address out there, putting pictures of my home out there, saying that I'm Blue Blanco, I'm this and that, and woo, 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 woo. You know, going and protect Mark. Now Mark feels used and abandoned, right? Just they used him up and just threw him to the corner. Go sit your ass down over there. You can hear it in his voice. You can see it in his face. I've been betrayed. Same shit. We go back to the documentary, right? What did he say in that documentary, man? I've been betrayed by so many people that I felt loved me. And what is he saying in the beginning of his first videos? Man, I've been betrayed. It's the sad story of Mark, right? That poor fella's been betrayed by everybody he's let in his inner circle, man. And that's not, that don't take away from being a fucking predator. He did what he did, man. He did. Those are things that he has to answer for. To be like, man, why did you do it, man? Was it survival, man? Where, you know, was that your type of way of surviving prison? It's what was the reason? You know what I mean? Or you were just a horn dog? What was the reason that you did what you said you did in the documentary? See, I'm not making shit up. I'm just questioning Mark on shit that he said his own self. I'm not, you know, saying he got caught in a room with Peanut. I'm not saying all that wild shit about Mark, which I'd be mad too. I can understand it on Mark's point of view right there, man. I don't agree on a lot of stuff what Mark says or does, man, but I do agree with that right there, man. Where he says his YouTube is manipulation, deception. Uh, it is what it is for, man, and a lot of people ain't meant for that. They really aren't. You have to be a fake person. You got to be like a moralist, valueless, heartless person. You know what I mean? Like a person that you see your mom on the side of the road and probably won't even help her. Or that you're just a scumbag towards your own family. So uh, you couldn't expect anything other to you to be the random people, right? It speaks volumes, man. When you're kind to a random person, that tells me, man, if you're kind to a random person, man, that means you're real lovey-dovey with your family, man. That speaks character. You know what I mean? So if you're a hateful, vengeful person to a random person that you just met, don't even know, I could just imagine how you are with your family. First impressions mean a lot, man. It's like these dudes from Texas, they go to a bigger podcast in California, right? You go to a bigger podcast where you know you're probably going to get 10 times or 20 times more than people looking at you than what you normally do, right? So, and then you're representing a state as a whole, right? Because you're coming, hey, I'm from Texas. I'm from Texas, man. You don't, you want to go on there looking on your best church clothes. You know what I mean, man? You want to go on there, even if it's the only fucking outfit you got, or if that's the only first outfit that you're going to buy yourself in a long time, you buy it, man. Even if you ain't got no money in your pocket, right? Fuck it. First impression means a lot. They're gonna be, oh yeah, look, that dude looks fresh, man. He looks nice. Instead of going in there looking like a bum, man, like, and then still try to represent Texas. I don't get that, man. It's just, first person, first time impressions mean a lot, man, on your character. So I here in a little bit, I'm just gonna go back and watch some more of the videos and see what they're talking about. Because now it just seems like there's trouble in paradise. I got Tay commented, say Mark's innocent. Anybody can feel any kind of way, man. You can feel Mark's innocent. You can feel Mark's guilty, man. That I don't care how you feel on that topic, man. If you feel he's innocent, prove it. Prove it, right? But they did young blood dirty, man. They did young blood dirty. They used his own good intentions against him. They used his good intentions, you know what I mean, against him. But that was the whole plan. That was the whole plan of baiting Youngblood in, bring him into the circle, dissect them, read them, and then do the bully tactic, right? One throws a narrative out there, most likely the same person from a different account is going to try to back up that narrative. So now you're interacting with somebody, and then you're reading the comments as you go. Now you got two, three commenters saying the same thing, throwing you off your game. So it's like it's a bunch of deception, man. They basically use Youngblood against himself. And that's one thing I was trying to avoid, man. Because I knew what I knew what the whole agenda was, right? Bait Youngblood in, uh, and use Youngblood against himself. Basically, that's what they've been doing. It don't take a genius, man. I've been laying back in the cut, not really been paying too much mind. You know what I mean? Because it's like if I'm going to be breaking my head, man, I'm going to be breaking my head for something productive, something beneficial. I'm not just going to be breaking my head just to be breaking my head. Trying to figure out these guys' next play. It's that's fucking first is diabolical and it's not good for me. You know what I mean? Because I just it consumes me, man. It just I don't like that. I don't like that. And Mark's got a taste of it. That's why Mark's like, man, I'm through. Y'all can have it. It's too much consuming. It's too much arguing. It is. It is, man. I don't agree with what too much, and I don't, for what Mark stands for, but I give him some brownie points on that right there, right? I can actually say, hey, it's truth, right? YouTube is nothing but deception and lies, manipulation, uh, grooming. Like Mark said, all that. I know all about all that. Behind the scenes, say this, say that, don't do this, don't do that. So the inner workings, Mark's like, it's not for Mark, right? And it's not for a lot of people, man. It's not. It's especially for older guys. Like I consider myself. Well, I'm already going up on my feet. I'm 40 something. So manipulation and deceit and you know deception is not for everybody, man. It's not for everybody. Those people like that would be like good lawyers, good car salesmen, people that just want to take your book for nothing. You know what I mean? Scammers. You know, any of those categories are. They just want a car salesman will take your money and sell you a fucked up car. An attorney will tell you he can beat the case as long as you give him 20,000. You give him the 20,000, you still end up with 10 years, right? So they're all shady, man. They're all just going to tell you what you want to hear for their benefit. So that's where you can categorize them dudes. Shady car salesman, shady lawyer, uh, scammer, and those type of characters you don't want in your inner circle, man. Because the first time you don't agree with them, they're gonna stab you right in the back. So it's better not to even associate or even align yourself with them, man. It's better off just doing your own thing. Just you know, voice your opinion and voice your thoughts. Hey, if nobody agrees with you, hey, fuck it. If it's a free country, we're here to we can agree to disagree, right? But at the same time, I don't have to hear your opinion, right? As long as I'm not forcing you to be over here. Now, if I invite you to my live, that's like, okay, now I have to listen to what you have to say, right? Now, as long as I don't care or invite anybody to my live, I can care less. Keep your opinion to yourself or what? Go create your own channel and express your opinion about me there. I don't care. It don't bother me. And that's what I think Youngblood needs to start doing. You know, Youngblood got a lot of knowledge, man. Like he got 20 years in Alabama prison. He's not a mark. He's not a bandit. People that really know Youngblood can co-sign this, man. All right. And y'all gonna say, well, who knows Youngblood? Well, I know for a fact that y'all have people on y'all's camp that knows young blood. And I'm pretty sure if y'all haven't asked them to speak up about Mark, to speak about young blood, right? Speak on his character. Y'all got somebody in y'all's camp that can answer to young blood's character. I don't get it, man. To me, how you doing, Anna? To me, it's I can't do it, man. That's why to me it's like the only reason I was doing it, man, because I was being attacked, right? Like, and it gets kind of old, man. They're like, man, these guys, they don't got no fucking facts, man. All they're gonna do is continue, and next week's gonna be another case coming out the internet. Next week after that, it's gonna be, oh, you look like this guy. Next week is gonna be like, oh, this seems some similar like your kid. So it's not gonna, it's never nothing. It's never gonna be facts, right? I can deal with facts. I can deal with facts, right? I can deal with facts. But what I can't deal with is the false and the fake narrative. I can't defend myself from that. Yes. Yes, that's true, Anna. That's how it was back in the days. In the 90s, early 2000s, that's how it was. Whites in Texas prisons were the minority. It's sad to say, they were the minority. Out of 10 white dudes, maybe you'll get one and a half, maybe two that are stomped down, right? If that, if that, because a lot of them, there's documents that are out there. There's documents written where these white dudes seen this white dude about to get fucked up and murdered, and they didn't intervene, right? Because they were outnumbered. It's documented. Yes, for the white boys, that's how it was. That's how it was for the white boys. They would have to fight each one of their own. One, because the Mexicans and the blacks wanted. You see, in Texas, the whites were they were being used for two things: sexual and money. So Mexicans and the blacks would fight over who was going to get the pickings, right? Now y'all got one last time. This one's ours. So to keep the peace, they would take turns. Whoever would break them, right? Because they're going to be like, oh, this dude's going to fight, right? But who the dude's going to give up to whoever's whooping his ass, right? And that's who breaks him. When you say I don't want no more, I'm through. I'm through. I mean, that's it. That's it. You've been broken, and that's sad to say. Yeah, but for us, it's different. We get checked by we get checked by our own people only. That's the difference. You know what I mean? The whites have to get they have to go through the gauntlet of Mexicans, blacks, and then whites. Or it could be blacks, Mexicans, and then whites. Right? But being as a Mexican, we get dealt by our own. Just one, just by our own people. We'll nobody else. Or else they'd be a riot. Oh, you always have to fight. You always have to fight, but out of my time that I was in prison, I fought more of my I fought more of my homeboys than I fought enemies. If I can say that, I fought more. I got laced up by a veteran. They showed me how to conduct myself and how to carry myself, and respect meant respect meant a lot. Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. Apology. Oh, sorry, man. You bump into somebody. Excuse me. Sorry. Uh, can you don't reach over nobody. Don't reach over nobody's food, or common mannerisms, right? That a lot of people lack. So as long as you know the common sense, you be all right, man. You be surprised. It's the people that lack common sense that get themselves in trouble. Because it's the simplest things that get people in trouble. Like, don't look in nobody's house. Don't look in nobody's house. That's a sign of disrespect when you look into somebody's house. Even though it's kind of hard because you're walking down the run and you see your peripheral vision. It's kind of hard, you know what I mean? But you just got to stay tunnel vision. You can't turn your head and actually look in there. You know what I mean? Because it's like the same thing out here. You see somebody looking inside of your house, you're gonna take it as this guy trying to break into my shit, right? So it's the same thing in prison. It's just common sense, man. It's just common sense. You wouldn't want nobody looking into your house out here, looking into your window or your front door. Uh, it's the same thing in the jail cell, man. You walk by somebody's cell, you don't look in there. All this stuff I was taught. I was taught uh, which canned foods works the best to put in the sock. Well, he told me the refried beans. He goes, always keep 2, 3 refried beans in your commissary. He goes, don't use them. Just keep those on hand because the refried beans don't bust. You can hit those. You can hit a couple of dudes in the head before it actually busts open because it's real compact. There's no air in it. Them refried beans are stuffed in there. So all this knowledge, people are not they don't get too blessed to get uh they don't get schooled. You know what I mean? And I got blessed and knowing that I didn't have that much time. You know what I mean? He wasted his education on me, knowing that I only had 2 years. But he took the liking to me. You know what I mean? What's up, puppy? What up? Ah, all right, y'all, man. Yeah, see, but after a while, man, the master locks, they started making them out of plastic. They started making the master locks out of plastic, so they really didn't have that much impact as the real master lock. I mean, they would still do something, but the only part of the lock was the loop. The whole block itself was made out of plastic. They switched. I mean, that was in 2002. They took out the old master locks and they put those plastic master lock. I mean, it would still do something better than nothing, but I mean, it wasn't like the old canned foods. You put an old canned food and bust it against, man. It was a thing called in Texas leaving pussies on people's heads, and that was a common thing. You know what I mean? Of leaving pussies on people's head. If you've ever seen what a definition of a pussy on a head is, I mean, it's when you split somebody's head open, man, it splits right open. It looks like a vagina. It looks like a vagina on its monthly period, right? It's a big old gush, and it's just gushing out blood, and that's why they call it you getting a pussy on your head, because that's what it looks like, man. And once you see a lot of those, you trip out, man, because you're like, man, this dude's still standing. You know what I mean? I guess the adrenaline and I don't know, it's just wild, man. Prison to me is wild. Tim, this Tim. Okay, I'll check it out. I'll go check out Tim Snow. I watched some of his videos, but it's like I don't know. He tells Texas prisons from a white crip perspective. Yeah, and I ain't got nothing wrong with it. That's just his perspective on his experience. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've all had our own different experiences in through Texas prisons, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why we're all different, man. none of us should have the same story, right? None of us should really have the same story unless we were cellmates, or even then, you know what I mean. We still shouldn't, because through all our time we should already did something different. So everybody's time in Texas prisons is different. Everybody has their own perspective. Dr. Larry did 40 something. Uh, it, you know, a lot of people have their own perspective. OG Percy, FDA. A lot of people have their own perspective. You know what I mean? I have my own perspective, and I can only speak on like what I experienced and what I seen at my time. You know, my time when I was there, I seen a lot of money. I seen the trustee camp, the inner workings of it, and you're like, man, fuck. Now I can imagine the drones just dropping it off. You know what I mean? I can imagine, because back then there was people, taking a chance and walking up. There's people in prison trying to come out, and there was people actually walking into the prison grounds to drop off the bags. It's a lot of inner working, man. You know, I, I guess I was blessed to see the money side of prison. I was able to align myself with people that were making money, and I got to see that side of the. I didn't, what I mean, because not everybody's blessed to be the inner circle to know what's going on, man. And like I said, man, uh, I didn't have that much time, man. I got a fucking 2 year sentence, and I'm dealing with people that got 20 life, 40, 30, you know, that took a liking to me. And then when you go to prison, you might have 20 homeboys on one block, right? But out of those 20 homeboys, it gets split up into little cliques, right? Because now we're all homeboys, but we're only going to click with like-minded homeboys, right? So, you know, there might be a clique of us three, four over here that we're always together, kicking it tight, and then there might be another three, four over here that they get along and they click it, or they might be, they got more in common than what we do. So even through there might be 20 or 30 of us in that block, it's like sets amongst little sets, but we're all one, right? We're all one. We're all homeboys. We're all shake hands, but we all got our people we've aligned ourselves with, our homeboys. You know what I mean? And I was able to align myself with the dude that had everything going on. He's the one that, him being from Houston and me being from Dallas was like was something weird at the time, because people were like, man, you might as well just claim Houston instead of Dallas. But it's because it was just too different. Dallas was in my experience, Dallas is like a few years behind Houston. Houston is, where the Texas swag basically came from, you can say, man. And that's credit where credit, that's where the rest of Texas got their swag from. And that's from Houston, Texas. And people might not like to say that, man, but I'm me being from Dallas, I got to give credit to where credit's due. Texas, Houston is the one with that came with the swag, and we followed, because when I went to prison in Dallas, it was still the Chicano culture, man. Like raza, people talking in both English and Spanish. I can do that, but I just it's not my strong point. It's not my strong points, right? I can talk to people in Spanish. I mean, Spanish is my first language, so I can hold conversation, and I can conversate. No, see, that's the thing, that back in the back in the day, That's how Dallas was. Dallas, it was a big proud of being Chicano in the movement, man. But then it's sad to say that the rap came. You know, here in Texas, it was Tejano music, Selena. You know, it was Tex Mex. You know, that's what it was known for. That's uh then the '90s came and everybody got hip hop. You know what I mean? Rap. Everybody started gravitating to that culture. You know, the boots, the boots, and the big belt buckles from listening to Tejano, from Little Joe and uh, Ramon Ayala. It went from listening to that to listening to Easy E, Ice Cube. Even SPM. So it went from no longer boots to wearing polo boots to Jordans. So we kind of evolved from that culture, and now you can see where it's at today to this day. Now you got Mexicans and blacks. The only thing that tells them the difference is just their skin color, right? If there was no skin color, they'd be like, oh man, you would be able to categorize them with the blacks, right? But since of their skin color, you could tell that they're white and Mexican. Other than that, you couldn't tell no difference. And that's every culture, man. That's even in California as well. In California, it used to be the lowriders, right? You would catch everybody wearing Dickies, Ben Davis, uh, Converse, Cortezes. You know, the cholo, the gangster look, right? The bandana hanging, the Dickies, the wife beaters. Now you barely see those type of guys. Now you see them. Now you see the California Mexicans dressing like the Mexicans from Texas. Now you got California Mexicans with gold grills, with gold mouth. I got my gold teeth like in '99. Mine have never came out. Mine are permanent, right? And this is I'm talking about 26 years ago, right? And before that, my older brother had his grill like in '94 and '95. Now it's okay. Now it's like you got California Mexicans with gold grills. It's just look at Lefty Gunplay, a Southsider that I'm pretty sure the old generation of his gang tells him, "Hey man, you're trying to be black," just like how they would tell me, right? I had older homeboys that were from Dallas that would tell me, "Man, the way you talk and the way you sound like you want to be black, bro." That's because they were coming from the culture of Chicano and talking in English and Spanish. I wasn't talking. I was talking like hood. I was saying the N word back in the day when I was younger. What's up, my N? Until I went to prison. Right? I went to prison. And I try to uh, tell my older homeboy like that. Right? I said, "What's up?" Not knowing better. And he goes, "Do I look like one?" He goes, "Don't call me that ever again." Right? And then after a while, he goes, "You look, man. We don't use that word against. You wanna address one of us. What's up, homeboy? We're homeboys. We're not that. I know that's how you talk from the streets. So we're not gonna DP you, right? Take this as a warning. Don't use that word no more around us, or for the better, take it out of your vocabulary when you call somebody like that. Call him dog, cat, bro, homeboy, something other than that, right?" And he schooled me. He made me realize that he was right. He told me what that meant word and the derogatory. He laced me up, right? He goes, "You only use that, and especially we can't use that word here in prison, man, because that would set off a riot." So somebody might hear it and take it out of proportion. So Just we don't use that word. So it's weird, man. Before before and before Anna in Texas, in Texas, it's hard because they don't segregate, they don't desegregate you by race. All my cellies, all my cellies were black and white. I never got lucky and had a Mexican celly in prison. In the county, where you can pick and choose in the county who your celly is, right? You know, you can pick and choose. But as far as prison, uh, all my inmates were black. All my cellies were, for the most part, I had one, two, three. I had four blacks and two whites. And it's kind of hard when when people try to say you can't eat with this person or you can't eat with that person when you're in the cell with this person more than what you are with your homeboys, right? Because let's say with me, I did most of my time in medium custody, which meant 28. Let me see, it was 18 to 20 hours locked up, right? And then they would give us 4 hours on the week and then 6 hours on the weekends for day room time. So between 18 to 20 hours, you're in a cell with this person, right? And if he's black, you can't really be racist, man. As much as you want to, you really can't be racist, right? Because you get to talk to him, and then y'all get to know each other, and if y'all are cool with each other, man, where y'all are playing dominoes or you're you're holding conversations, it's kind of hard, man. It's kind of hard to be a racist person when you're in a close environment so long with another person of another race, man. And then to be people in Texas are not racist, man. It's just more it's the laws of the land that have already been implemented, you know, and you can't go break the laws. You know what I mean? Um, when I went to prison, I was told I couldn't gamble, I couldn't eat, I couldn't basically associate myself with them, right? I couldn't do no business. Don't do no business because at the end you do business and business might go wrong, and then just it was not to be on the racist thing, but it was more on to avoid conflict. A lot of people feel like the segregation in prison was to be racist. No, man, it's just to avoid conflict, right, amongst us. You know, uh, that's what it's for. It's just to avoid the conflict. So I got told, look, you can't eat with them, you can't do nothing. But then when things change, that's why that's how it was with the back in the day, right? But then you got to understand that a lot of these dudes in Texas, we coexist with the blacks, right? A lot of us, we grew up with each other, so it's not far fetched to where some of us grew up that we might meet each other down there again, right? Even through we were friends as kids, we might meet each other up in prison. So it's kind of hard to be like, man, this is I grew up with this kid. This guy went over to my house. I went over to his house. I ate over. So it's kind of hard to set those boundaries, man. You know what I mean? Oh hell no. My cell is. I had a white dude, right? I had a white dude he was an Aryan Circle. He had 35, right? The other white dude, he had a life, right? The other dude, he had just finished doing a 10 piece. The other black dude from Port Arthur, he had 20. Nah, all the people that all the people that you see, Texas tries to do the best they can, man. They try to separate you. They try to categorize you by your nature of your crime, by the nature of your how violent you are, your disciplinary reports. You know, somebody with 2 year sentence should have never went to a real prison, right? Unless you're acting up, right? Now, when you're acting up, they're gonna categorize you as they see fit. So now they're taking you out of a minimum custody prison, and now they're putting you in a max or a medium prison, right? So now everybody that's in that medium or max are doing time, right? But they have to categorize you as they see fit, right? When I first went in, I was catching in fights. I was getting dirty UAs. So they classified me as close custody. Close custody. I went to the hearing. Close custody. From close custody, they demoted me to medium. Cause that's the way they do it. If I would have been what they say mining like listening and shit, I would have stayed at the trans. I would have stayed at Middleton, which is a transfer facility, right? Instead, I went to a prison in Huntsville. And in Huntsville, I went to the diagnostic. See, my first time going through the diagnostic center, man, that shit was they throw like in reality there was only like 25 shower heads and there's like 50 motherfuckers in there. You got 25 shower heads and you got 50 motherfuckers in there. You got 25 lathering and then you got 25 rinsing off. It's like a fucking a factory, man. It's like that's what I'm like. And a lot of people that've been to diagnostics knows what I'm talking about, man. That diagnostic center is kind of fucked up, man. That's when you like that's when I really got to taste the reality. It was like right there, like what the fuck they throwing all of us in here 50 and there's only 25 shower heads and everybody's just like going along with it, man. So I go in the flow, you know what I mean? I'm like I go act like I ain't new to this shit. But in reality, I'm like, man, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Yeah, they do that in California. They do that in California. See, down here, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's like that's why I mean, Texas and California Mexicans are way different. You know, they're I guess they have to be racist because they have to. You know what I mean? It's embedded in them from a very young age. And plus, you know, I don't know if in California if they're segregated, you know what I mean, or if you're gonna have a Mexican celly, you know, that doesn't help it either because that just makes it worse. That really brews racism right there when you try to keep them separated. At least when you have a black celly or a white celly, man, you got to work through it. You know what I mean? You can't be using that racist to judge a person. You can't use that their tone of their skin color to judge them. You can just judge them based off their character and what you see when they present themselves to you. Texas, man, no, see but that's the politics, man. I mean, that's the politics that they've been, and then and you know, in a sense, you're not really your own man. You're not really your own man, you know, because you're basically being delegated by somebody else's rules and telling you what to do. Yeah, yeah, but I think people have to understand that them groups fight. They're not fighting because they're black and Mexican, right? They're fighting for control over the money. 9 out of 10 times, they're fighting over the customers, right? They're fighting over the customer. I've been in similar situations, right, where the blacks customers prefer to come shop with us, right? This is my personal experience. The times that I would have problems with the blacks was because their customers would come over to buy my shit, right? And it wasn't because they were black and I was Mexican. It was basically over the money that we were having conflict over, right? Uh, we weren't beefing because they were black and I was Mexican. It was more of a, hey, you're taking our money, right? But like I would tell them, man, be like, hey, y'all need to stop selling that blow up shit, man. It's not my fault, man. You know what I mean? Y'all need to stop selling that blow up shit. If you want to keep your customers, stop selling them fake. Stop selling them bogus shit, cut up bullshit, blowing it up. And then you wouldn't have that problem, man. You wouldn't have your customers come driving all the way to my area. But then that's where uh the communication comes open, right? And if it's worth dying over, then bullets start ringing. They're going to be coming into an agreement, right? I've had agreements to where, hey, you can work this, 12 hours, and I work this 12 hours, right? We're not going to be complaining about whose customers are whose, just to keep the peace and everybody eats, right? At the end of the day, uh, vice versa, just like I needed the white dude that I met because he had something. Same thing with the blacks. They had customers that needed ice, right? So it became beneficial for everybody, right? Why beef? Why beef? Because she called you and I got here before you did. You know, because that's what those things do. They will call two people at one time to see who would get there quicker, right? And that's how most of the problems will start, right? Right? Because the dolphin would call me and they would call them. And the dolphin is just playing double sides. He just wants his shit quicker. Whoever gets there quicker, he don't care. He don't care, right? If you get there quicker, he likes your shit better. But at the end of the day, they're dolphins. Whoever's there quicker, they gets to sell. So that's how most of my conflicts came about with blacks, right? The dolphins would call me and then they would call them. I would get there first. He'd be pulling up. He'd get mad because he didn't get to sell. Vice versa, right? They'd call me. If I didn't get there in time, he was going to get to sell. Vice versa, right? So I'd be feeling some type of way. So it was not because they were black. It was because of the money, man. And that's the same thing in California. A lot of them people are fighting for them corners. And the sad thing that them corners are right next to each other. I've never been to California. I can only speak on 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 how they do it on and I see that they talking. They're like, yeah, across that light is the enemy. So I'm like, fuck. If the enemy's right across the street, then fuck. Then no wonder y'all be catching bodies against each other so bad because you can catch somebody going to the store, and they can catch somebody going to the store, or the store can be. I don't know if the store can be used by both hoods. I don't know, man. It's just wild. You know what I mean? Or you caught them lacking at the store. Or yeah, man. Poor OG Shadow. But that's, I mean, you know what I mean? I would hate to say that, man. But once you struggle with substance abuse, man, and see that's the thing. A lot of them people that been in prison long time, that's why they have a lot of hepatitis C, man. A lot of people catch hepatitis C because they share the same needle. Like it's not like out here, man. Uh, intervening, a person that shoots up in prison, he's not gonna have a syringe openly available for him whenever he needs it. You know, there might be one or two syringes for the whole prison that dudes might take turns using. I seen people use the same tattoo ink, right? And the same fucking needle, the same man. But see, that's the person under the circumstances that they were, right? That person wasn't getting no commissary. He wasn't getting any. He was basically at the mercy of these dudes that were giving tattoos, right? So it's like, if you want a tattoo, here, man, I got time, and I just finished tattooing this up, and come on. So now, if you want that tattoo at no cost, you're at the mercy of this guy's hands, right? You're like, fuck, I want to get a tattoo, but I don't have no money to get in the line, right? And that's what sucks, man. That there's a lot of people that are in prison that are broke. I was happy to say that, man. That every tattoo that I got on me in prison, it was a new barrel, new gun, not a new gun, but a new barrel, new needle, new ink. Everything was new except the fucking mortar and the because the mortar gets used over and over. But the barrel, the needle, everything I acquired from my tattoos was new. But then again, I could afford to do that. You know what I mean? Not everybody's blessed to be able to survive and live comfortable in prison. You know, to me, living in prison comfortable is being able to make store. That's it. If I can make store, everything else can fall in place, right? Because you can pay with people to, hey, go do this or hold this, do that. So I mean, as long as you get money on your books, man, you live comfortable, man. You don't have to be asking anybody for anything. You got your hygiene, your necessities, you know, but not everybody's blessed, man. I've seen a lot of people, man. I've seen a lot of people, well, majority of the people that are in prison, it's sad to say, man, it's very far in between people that make commissary, man. I think if you put 10 people, depending on the race and everything, you'll see, man, that it's kind of bad, man. Not everybody makes commissary, man. Yeah, I seen where OG was in where he was in the prison, but man, I don't I mean, maybe somebody could have gave him a dirty syringe, or maybe, like I said, there's not too many syringes in prisons. But damn, in Mexico, I think in Mexico there'd be a shitload, man. I mean, if I was to go to prison back again, I think I would prefer to go to Mexico. I think I would. If next time, God forbid, I ever go to prison, and they tell me, man, you want to go to prison and in Mexico, or you want to go to prison in USA? I said, man, send me to Mexico, man. Fuck it. I want to go to Mexico prison over there. I think you think so? I don't know, man. I think if you have family that are there from that area, I think it'll be comfortable, man. I mean, they take you food every day, pick up your clothes to wash it for you, uh, give you money. But this is also going to be as long as you can hold your own, you know, because there's going to be people in there that are going to see that, hey, this guy gets something, let's go take it from him. As I'm speaking as somebody that you better be able to hold your own. You better, either get you a gun in there or a nice size sword to be able to defend yourself. Because there's a lot of people over there, man, that'll do it for that'll unalive you for $5, $10. It's a lot worse. I guarantee you that the environment of who you're going to be around is you're going to be around a lot more worse people. You're going to be around a lot of fucking uh, psychopaths, man. Mexico's prisons are full of psychopaths, man. These aren't just your fucking petty criminals. Like you're going to be housed in fucking Texas prisons. You know what I mean? And you're going to be monitored and shit. Yeah, I watch OG Percy. I seen they were trying to attack him, but OG Percy, man, OG Percy, he speaks from his life experience, man. People might say this about the dude, man, but he got a lot of he speaks a lot of gaming knowledge, man. People just don't. People are always looking at the wrong, man. They're looking at the negativity, man. What's going on, Fred? They're just looking at the negativity. Like how he says, man, y'all mess the message just to look at the mess. And it's true, man. They're instead of people listening to his experience and pick up from it, or maybe you can learn something from it, or maybe not. But give it an opportunity, man. Don't clown on the man or from what he don't have, or for what you feel he should have or don't have, or or for whatever personal reason you don't like to do, man. But as far as his content, I like his content, man. He speaks facts, man. And he gives credit to where credit's due, man, to the Mexicans in Texas, man. And that's why I give him his flowers, man, because he gives credit where credit's due. He knows that the Mexicans are the ones that set the foundation for Texas prisons. And I'm not talking about the Tongo Blast. You know what I mean? Tongo Blast is, we came late. We came later. But the reasons who laid the foundation for the Mexicans in Texas prisons, the ones that made everybody fear the Mexicans in Texas prisons were the Texas prison families, right? The old school gangsters, the old schools, right? The old school Texas Syndicate, the old school Raza Unida, the old school Barrio Stecas, the old school Texas M. Those guys are the ones that laid the foundation for the Mexicans in Texas, right? They're the ones that put in the work, right? They're the ones that put in the work against all the other races, right? They're the ones that made it. Hey, the Mexicans don't play. The Mexicans gonna put them holes in you. Y'all gonna go over there and fight them with hands, and Mexicans don't play. The Mexicans gonna poke holes in you. The Mexicans, they trying to unalive. And that's the culture that became in Texas prisons, right? Don't fuck with the Mexicans. Don't they stick together and they don't play with them knives. This is the culture that the Mexicans did in the 70s and the 80s, right? They're the ones that laid the foundation. So when you hear a person like OG Percy giving the Mexicans flowers, that he started doing things because the Mexicans were doing it, right? The Mexicans were doing this, the Mexicans were doing that. So he gives the flowers, you know what I mean? And I respect that, man, because it was the older generation of Mexicans, man. The old Robert Delgados, the the members, man. of the 80s, 70s, and the early 90s. The guys that were putting in the work, I mean, that were putting in the work that it's documented, right? It's documented in articles and newspaper clippings that these guys were putting in work, man. They had guys running with their flip flops, you know what I mean? Unaliving 3, 4 at a time. You know, it's documented, man. So these are the guys that laid the foundation for the Mexicans in Texas. And it's a majority of them, you know, they were the TS, the Barrio Azteca, and the Texas Inmate. Those were the three main ones, right? And everybody, and then every other, then there was a lot more that came after that, right? But those were the three main Hispanic ones, right? The TS, the Texas M, and the Barrio Aztecas. Those three were the main Hispanic ones in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, they didn't come through fruitation. They were there. You know what I mean? They were there. They didn't throw their flag up until maybe the 80s, right? But they've been there coexisting. Just like when the TS came from California. Now, see, the Texas Mafia was like a cousin or a side branch of the Texas Syndicate. At one point, I think I might be wrong, but they weren't accepting no more white inmates, right? They weren't accepting any more. At one point, they said, "Man, we're not accepting no more whites, or you know what I mean. You're not a Mexican. You got to be a Tejano, a Mexican Texan. You know what I mean? Born and raised." So they gave them permission to create the Texas Mafia, which is basically, you know, uh, a, a cousin of the Texas Syndicate that involves whites and Mexicans, right? Because there's a story of a dude right now that's on life. He's on death row right now, right? Because he killed his celly, right? Because first he was Texas Syndicate, okay, and they found out that he had some kind of, you know, fucked up charges or allegations. So since the Texas Mafia had already been branched off, they made a deal with the Texas Syndicate. They're like, let this dude come over here. He's gonna do some work for us, and y'all take him off that list. And that's what he did. He was a Texas Syndicate, and then he went and became a Texas Mexican Mafia, a Texas Mafia, which is basically like like a half breed organization. They got whites and Mexicans, but they don't. I don't think they exist. I haven't heard from them anymore. I haven't really heard from them anymore. The Texas Mafia was like a little cousin of the syndicate, which a lot of these gangs were. You know what I mean? A lot of these gangs got the blessings from them. Because that's how all these other little gangs came into fruition from the blessings of the. But I think, man, if you really want to, out of the big three, I say the big three in Texas is like, I'm as far as the Hispanics would have been like the Texas Syndicate, Mexican Mafia, and the Barrio Azteca, right? Out of those three organizations, I say Barrio Azteca is the one that's been able to flourish. Because you gotta take in consideration, man, that Barrio Azteca is a transnational organization, man. They got they got factors in both Mexico and in the United States. They got two different sides. You know, they have Barrio Azteca, and then they have Los Aztecas. Same identity, but on two different sides of the border. Them are the only ones that have been able to evolve, right? They forgot about the streets of Texas. They said, man, fuck, we can move anywhere, man. We can move anywhere because we got the plug. We can go anywhere. We don't just have to worry about Texas, man. We can go to New Mexico, Arizona. We can go everywhere around Texas. Omaha. There's places that these guys exist that they're just look at the indictments, the RICOs. Some of these guys they're found in towns in Arkansas, and you're like, man, they're not even worried about Texas. They've spread out, and I think a lot of Barrio Azteca, you know, it's mixed because I think some of them were from New Mexico, some were from El Paso, some were from they're from different states, man. The original ones, the creators, they're I think they're the only ones that have evolved, man, and become something to mess with, man, because they got control in Texas, and then they got control in Mexico. Now, who's 11 Trey? Is that a black gate? Is 11 Trey a black gang like the 11 Trey gangsters? I don't know. See, that's another thing. Like my experience with the Crips, like with Crips, uh, Crips to me is like anywhere, right? It's not. Yes, it comes from the motherland. It comes from California, right? Crips, yes. Crips, yes. You can't take that from them. The Crips is from California. You can't take that from them, man. You know, but you can't. A lot of the Crips that I've met, like perfect example, where I grew up, it was VNS 13, right? Barrio Northside 13. That was the Mexican gang, right? That's who I was associated with, and that was my neighborhood, right? And then you have the blacks, right? Which in every area you go, you're going to have Bloods or Crips, right? But these guys, they took the street name or where they were from, which is called Webb Chapel. So they labeled themselves Webb Chapel Crips. They named themselves off the street they lived at, but they just added the Crip, right? So it to me, that's a wholly totally different cripping. You know what I mean? Yes, it's Crip, but these guys will represent their cripping over here, man. It doesn't mean that they have to agree with what you're doing in California or have to do with like over there. These guys now, if they took the name of the motherland, like a Crenshaw Mafia, like Mark did. You know, Mark took Crenshaw Mafia blood. That's a California set. And you're banging it in Alabama. So now, by law, you should be following what the Crenshaw Bloods do because you're carrying their name. You're not just a blood, you know, bloods are different, man. But if you're going to carry the set from California, a Crenshaw Mafia blood, well, then you're going to have to deal and follow their policy and their laws of the land instead of just being a, a Birmingham Crip or a Birmingham Blood, you know, putting your state to the cripping. To where you can say, man, nah, man, yeah, I'm a Crip, but at the same time, man, I'm an Alabama Crip. Or I'm a Alabama Blood. They can't take the fact that the Bloods and the Crips are going to migrate all over the place, man. They should be proud that somebody's using their name, right? It's like a franchise. if you want to, if it's like Burger King, man. If McDonald's says, "Hey, we're going to start using Burger King at the end of our," well, go ahead, man. It's free promotion, man. You know, you want a franchise? Thank you. Put my name out there more. All the Crips over here on my side of town, another Crip, the North Park Crips, right? That's from the North Park area. MP North Park Crips, right? They're Crips, but that's their area, North Park. And then for the Bloods, you got, I think you got the, and then you for South Dallas Crips, you got the Dixon Circle Crips, which is the Dixon Circle Projects. They're Crips, but it's the Dixon Circle Project. Also, they got the Bonton Bloods. The Bonton is the projects of Dallas. So, you know, because I seen when they were trying to tell Percy and this, and you know, Percy like, man, I'm a Crip from Texas, but then when you carry the Crip set name from California, man, and you know, now if you're over here, like I mentioned it before, you know, you claim Crip to your own neighborhood, like you know, uh, Webb Chapel Crip, then that's your Crippin', man. It's it's wild. But see, the same people, the same people that want to lay the foundations for other Crips from across the state, because they say they're from the motherland and we're from, you know, you repping Crip, you know, what's going on, JoJo? Just chilling, bro. Chilling, man. It's just I mean, as far as them not using the shower, man, it's kind of hard, man, because it's like, well, it depends on where you're at. Like in nah, they don't do that, man. I highly doubt that because that's going to be like, man, nobody wants no stinky fuckers around, man. You know, you're going to be whooping dudes' asses for not taking a shower. You're going to be, you know, your own homeboys are going to give you disciplina. You know, you got some homeboys that are real fucking assholes, man. You know, then you got some homeboys that just don't give a fuck, right? You got some homeboys that go to your cell and they be scoping out your cell and be like, say, how homeboy, how come you ain't cleaned up? You know, woo woo, you making this look bad. You know, woo woo woo. You know, how come your bed ain't made? Woo 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 woo. Or God forbid you fucking miss the shower, man. You ain't gonna hear the end of it. You're not gonna hear the end of it. You're not gonna hear the end of it. God forbid you get locked out and you miss the shower. You're not gonna hear the end of it the whole fucking day. So nah, I mean, see, in Texas, man, this is my personal experience. They would roll blocks, right? A block, B block, C block, and it would be by block. And then one row, two row, three row, four row, right? So you're going whatever that row is, right? And if you got homeboys on that row, you know, that's where you meet up. Come on, you know, all the homeboys on the same row are going to go to shower together and going to be side to side. You know what I mean? And then we'll meet up in the day room. It's not like in California, man. I think in California it's like that where they tell them, hey, you can't use that shower or now over here, man, we go to shower and it's everybody in the fucking shower, you know. But you go with your homeboys that are on that run with you, you know. Everybody, homeboys wait for homeboys and be like, hey, come on, everybody goes together, man. You know, and everybody gets to decide, you know, everybody's right next to each other and the shower heads. But I don't think them, everybody now, man. People are getting their ass whooped for not taking a shower. I don't they're getting their asses whooped. People don't want to be smelling ass and feet every day. People how's OG Shadow doing? Damn, that's fucked up. Yeah, I think. See, I think when they do that, man, that builds more segregation, man. Like more conflict. But then, man, that's why they got the prison gangs, man. That's the whole point of the prison gangs. A lot of people think that the prison gangs are bad, man, but they're actually there to keep order, man. They're actually there to keep order. Yeah, bro. Man, I think he should. If I was OG, man, Shadow, I would come back to the United States, man. I would come to the United States and get free healthcare, man. A lot of these dudes, I seen a document, a video where a dude in California says, man, if you come to California, they pay me to be homeless. I'm like, how the fuck are they paying this dude to be homeless? He goes, yeah, man, they give me $700 and $300 worth of food stamps just to be homeless. They go, man, that's free money. Why am I gonna go work? That ain't really nothing, man. Who the fuck's gonna survive on $1,000 in California? You can't even survive $1,000 in Texas with $1,000 a month, man. That's nowhere impossible. Anywhere, let alone in California. But shit, he can at least get free healthcare, man. Nah, but he can still travel, man. Like come back and forth. Get his doctors and his doctors situated and it's not like he's gonna be in a hospital 24/7. Once he gets it Once you get it controlled, man, and maintain it and get your prescription, your medication, I think he'd be all right, man. A lot of these guys are all right, man. I mean, look at Magic Johnson. That guy's still going in ticket, man. Easy E, I think Easy E would have probably survived if he would have probably taken the medication, man. He was probably in denial and not taking care of himself and it just got the better of him. But I don't know how that medication works, man. I don't know if maybe that when he was dying, they could have said, "Man, let's fucking give you some medication to try to cure it, man." We gave it to Magic. You want to take it? I would have taken it. I know Magic took it not knowing what it was going to do to him. They probably told him, like, "Man, we don't know what this medication is going to do to you. Hey, it might help you, it might not." But I would take the chance. I'm already dying. It's like, fuck it. You're telling me this could help me and it could not. I'm already dying. Hey, fuck it. I see it as a goal. I take that chance. Why not? I'm already dying. So you're saying if it don't work, I'm still gonna die. Well, fuck it. At least I tried. You got to go out with the mentality, man. Fuck it. I'll try it. Fuck it. Be a guinea pig. Damn. Yeah, you can help. And the thing that I guess he probably doesn't want to feel like a burden, bro. But he got pretty good content, man. I think I think I think if he gets in an area, man, to where he gets situated, he can get back up on his feet, man. I mean, he had it, and I can imagine he still does have a great following, man. Because I seen he had multiple channels, and a lot of those channels were up there, man, 30, 40, 50,000 subscribers. And he was getting his views. He had his following, man. He still does. He has that, what people on YouTube are looking for, bro. He's liked, he has charisma, he has the it factor, he has good stories. It's not like he's already proven to people that he can entertain and produce good content. What I don't understand is how come that dude Sean Atwood that's doing pretty good help him out, man, or he just doesn't want to do it. Yeah, yeah, because it sucks, bro. It sucks. I can understand it, man. You know, wanting to start a new channel, it's kind of sucks, man. You kind of lose motivation. You're like, man, let it go. Fuck it. I can not because you're not. Oh, that's good, bro. Because I know he's the one that's always bringing OG Shadow up. I haven't seen none of his videos lately, bro. But that's when I seen OG Shadow. I'm gonna have to go check out OG Shadow, man. But it's like everything else, man. Everybody always tries to run a smug campaign on the dude, man. It's like everything on social media. Every nobody can take just for what it is at face value, man. Just accept the content. They're always trying to discredit somebody. But I think OG Shadow, man, he had stuff that he could prove and he could back it up. I believe it, bro. I I, I believe it because all of a sudden I started seeing videos of some dudes like walking around, just posting random shit, just to try to post stuff to try to get the revenue ad. Man, that's fucked up, man. They're like, that's why I see a lot of people wanting to give up, man. I wanted to give up. This shit's like it's a headache, man. It's too but I gotta find myself, man. I haven't really been able to find myself on this shit. It's just really basically attacking people and defending myself, and I haven't really been able to, you know, let the people know who I really am, man. My experience. I'm not just no fucking idiot, man. I know how to do a lot of stuff. I got a lot of hobbies. You know what I mean? I don't just like talking about prison and prison to me was just something I went through 20 years ago as a kid. And it wasn't that much part of my life, you know, but people like that type of stuff. Yeah, I can imagine, man. I can imagine. See, it's a lot of people don't understand that it's two different worlds, man. That working or having a plug over here is totally different than having a plug in Mexico, man, or being a part of uh in Mexico, you're gonna see more gruesome side than what you do over here, man. Over here in the United States, you're gonna see the money side. Right? It's the money side and the cops and jackers. In Mexico, man, motherfuckers over there, they kidnap you, man, and get rid of you, and that's it. That's the end of the story. Or if they really want you, they'll come over here and bring you. They'll kidnap you from all the way over here and cross you across the border and disappear you. That's simple. So there's a lot of stuff, man, that people uh get put through to be a part of that organization, man. You see and you do a lot of stuff that the normal person, I guarantee you, wouldn't comprehend or I was watching, uh, you watch these documentaries, man, and these people have post-traumatic stress disorder over something so simple, right? Uh, somebody they get into they see something horrific, man, and it dramatizes them, man. Not everybody's meant to see horrific shit. You know what I mean? Not everybody can handle uh seeing some wild shit, man. There's a lot of people, not even them doing it, or just not even being around it, or just even them talking about it or seeing it. It's like, man, it didn't even happen to you. Why are you so worried about it? But some people's minds, man, is just not, they can't handle that type of trauma, man, or even going through it or even witnessing it. Because they pay it, if you don't know what to do in Mexico, man, then you need to do your research, man. Mexico, they don't play, man. They don't fucking play. And a lot of people, see, because in Mexico, it's just basically, they're gonna torture you, bro. And in other countries, it's big. I mean, it all depends on how sadistic the people are going to be, man. You know, it's on how sadistic, and it's fucked up, man. Because it doesn't really take much for somebody to turn into a sadistic freak, man. And, once you get a taste of it, and it's like, so the more you do it, man. It's like, it's to me. I speak firsthand, right? Because like I used to hog tie fucking dolphins and throw them in the bathtub for the fuck of it, right, man? And that was just like, I don't know, it was just a trip for me, right? Just to hog tie 'em and throw them in the bathtub, right? And leave them in there for hours, and they're hollering, but it's and seeing my younger homeboys going in there and just slapping them around, putting shaving cream, putting shampoo, it was more of a fun thing to do, man. But in the way you look at it, man, that's how things lead to some more shit, wild shit. You know what I mean, man? Like, I've been there. I've been, where an ass whooping is about to lead to something else, man. If it wasn't for the dude making his escape. So it doesn't take too much, man. It's like a domino effect, man. It's like it takes one to do the wrong, and the other one's like, oh, I gotta outdo you now, right? And then, damn. Let me find out, OG Shadows, that is El Calderon's homeboy, man. What's his name? El Cadron. That's some wild shit, man. How much? Like for somebody like an OG Shadow's position, man. How much what was a person getting paid? Like, what would you say his pay was? Is that guy like, is is that a cop, or Yeah, that's what a lot of people be saying, man. That well, I watched one interview and it just seems too much, man. It just seems like le echa too much crema a los tacos. You know what I mean? It's just too much believable. Like he tells you too much stuff to make it too believable, man. It's like, oh yeah, like, and you're like, man, it's almost like it coming out of a playbook, out of a book or something, man. And like sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes it just makes it like the Sicario movie or something. Fuck no, bro. All them fucking cops are dirty in Mexico. Every single fucking one of them. My personal experience, man, I almost got picked up when I was a little kid. Man, I almost got picked up by them fuckers. Slapped the shit out of me. They was about to throw me in the back of a truck, bro. Yeah, all the motherfuckers, man. My mom had to come out and give him like $20. They wanted American money. They wanted cash. And I was like, well, you ain't doing it. He could like, yeah, estaba acá afuera fumando marihuana. And I was, bro. I was. I was at the corner of my grandma's house smoking, right? With the other kids from the neighborhood around there. Yeah, you could tell. I mean, you could tell some of the stories are just too far fetched. You know what I mean? It's just man, that's everybody's tactics, huh, bro? Everybody's fucking tactics, like doxing everybody. That's everybody, bro. Everybody does that shit on YouTube, TikTok, uh, like everywhere. Oh, we got dox. I'm like, fuck, everybody does that shit, man. Neo said he had to move his whole family because he got doxed. That's wild, man. But I guess that's just the way. That's the intimidation tactics of the internet. It's all tactics, man. And you can tell from the people that who've been there and done that, man. Because people that seek attention is like, why do you want attention for, man? Why? If the number one thing is avoid the attention, but it's kind of hard, man, because we fuck it up ourselves. Because the first thing we do, we go fucking buy a chain. And the first thing we do, we go fucking, you know, we make it easy for the cops to fuck with us, even on the corner streets, man. You know, I would always get jammed up because, you know, you kind of stand out looking when you're fucking looking clean and decent. You kind of stick out like a sore thumb, man. You know, even if you're trying to blend in with all these dope fiends and shit and whatnot, you kind of stick out like a sore thumb. You know, people that know what they're looking for, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy right there. He's the one. Keep an eye on him." And it doesn't take too long before they seen you do a transaction and they roll up on you. So you can people that been in their life like me. I've 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 been, and this is due to my older brother, right? My older brother is the one that he's the one that had the connect and the whatnot, right? He's the one, my older brother, right? I've been able to, seen 18 wheelers full of fucking tons, I've gone, I've gone to apartment complexes in Fort Worth where by the time you're walking into the corridor or the hallway, it's reeking, but it's not reeking like burnt. It's reeking like fresh, like fresh cut. You know what I mean? And as soon as you go in, you can see you can see the two bedrooms from wall to wall, just compact, right? It's like they're just pulling bricks at the fucking room. Here you go, take this, take that. You know, I've seen, I've been, I've been in, you know, interactions, deals with hundreds, and being exchanged. I've seen the character. I've seen the Jamaicans from St. Louis come to Texas. I've seen the Jamaicans. I've had interactions from Jamaicans from St. Louis. You know, Jamaicans in Dallas were in the 90s, man, they were wild. In the 80s, 90s, they were wild. So I've 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 been in positions, right? I've been it's not to brag or boast my chest, be like, no, man, I've been around people, that people that are somebodies. And it's like these guys you would never think, man. You know, these guys you would never think, man. They would always tell my brother, man, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you waste money on this? My brother would have a fucking $60,000 lowrider out of a fucking shitty ass apartment, right? It wasn't taking a fucking genius to know what this fuck this guy was doing, right? This fucking apartment's a fucking project apartment, and you got a 60, $70,000 lowrider, right? All equipped with bells and whistles, right? Everything gold package, right? I'm gonna find pictures of it, man. I need to find pictures of it. And it wouldn't take it doesn't take, man. So people that have been around and I'm not like where I come from, man. Like where I come from, there used to be a car club called Mirage. Mirage. Y'all go check it up. Go look at the old school lowriders, magazines. Mirage was a well-known car club in Dallas, man. And them dudes were some of the biggest timers here in Dallas, Texas, man. Big timers, man. I'm talking about these guys. My brother was moving weed. We were moving weed, right? We were on the lower spectrum of the level, right? We were moving weed, right? Now there's different levels to this type of shit. You got the dudes that move the bricks, right? And them dudes are the ones that are moving the keys, right? We're averaging, let's say, $100 per pound, right? Now these guys are averaging anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 per brick that they move. So these guys are 10 times where we at. You know what I mean? Because they sell 10 bricks, they got 10 racks in their pocket. We sell 10 bricks, we've got $1,000 in our pockets. So but we never wanted to go that way because it was just too much attention and too many jack boys. My brother got robbed. He got robbed for 100 pounds one day. They robbed him for 100 pounds, tied him up, uh, pistol whooped him, kidnapped his brother-in-law, threw his ass in the elevator. They couldn't find him, man. After my brother he was able to uh, get himself untied from the hotel. My brother's like, man, he didn't give a fuck about the money. He's like, man, where the fuck did they take his brother-in-law? You know what I mean? He couldn't find him, man. So it comes out to be that the brother-in-law was handcuffed inside the fucking elevator. He was handcuffed, right? So the only reason my brother found where he was at because somebody started yelling or screaming. You know what I mean? And that's because somebody opened up the elevator door and seen him handcuffed, right? And my brother went over there and he seen him handcuffed. So they had to wait for the cops to come and basically unhandcuff the guy. I mean, it's and and it's tripped out, man, because them same dudes that robbed my brother, my other homeboy started working for them, right? My homeboy that laced me up, and he started working for them dudes, right? It's a fucked up, man. And think about it that these guys were like these guys were like big old white dudes, man. They were like if they weren't army or military or cops, they were some type of that's what they dedicated themselves, right? These guys they were looking for high profile, they were looking for big numbers. They weren't looking for no 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds. They wanted 100 and up, something that was going to make them worth it. And this is the same dude that he got shot in the neck, right? He got shot in the neck because he robbed some other dude and he knew him, and everybody knows everybody. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Everybody knows everybody. You might not know them personally, but you're gonna know somebody that's tied into that person that you're like, yeah, I know him. Okay, well, you're gonna hear something about. You know what I mean? Everybody that's in that world gonna know at one point or another. And it's fucked up, man. You know, a lot of these dudes were moving bricks, man. I mean, big time bricks. When I say bricks, they were moving 50 to 100 white bricks. You know what I mean? And back then, them puppies, I can still remember when them puppies were going for 12, 13, 5, man. 12, 13, 5. People from out of state were coming in for 16, 17. Those, and that's where I got involved. And that's when I said, I started, got into, you know, I got into the weed game through my brother, but the numbers weren't there, man. Like I said earlier, uh, people were moving 10 bricks and they were making 10,000. You know, we were moving 10 pounds, and we get 1,000. The numbers wasn't there, and you know, you compare 10 pounds of weed to 10 pounds of brick. You can easily compact 10 bricks than 10 pounds of weed. And to move it, you know what I mean? Breaking it down, you get a lot more. You know what I mean? You break a pound down, back then the pound was like $300, 250. Cheapest pound I ever got was $50. But on average, it were anywhere from 175 to 250. And then we would break it down and to get them off our hands, we 425, 375, 350. And they would break QPs down to 150, 125. But the numbers wasn't there, not like I could make twice that with just an ounce of coke, right? With an ounce of crack, I could double my money, if not triple it, more than what I could a pound. So I moved to the harder stuff because the money was there. And perfect example too, right there, man. It smells. It's too hard to conceal. It's just you have to move too much of it to even make money, man. And and the bad thing about me, man, is I love smoking weed. So, you know, I'd be smoking most of the shit up. So you can't really really sell what you enjoy. It's kind of hard. You know what I mean? But the hard one for me was easy money. You know what I mean? Cause shit, back then you get you a ounce. I think an ounce. I was getting an ounce for 500. Yeah, like 500, 550. The halves, they would give me a half for like 275, 300. But the ounces I was getting them for like 5 to 550, just depending on the time, man. Right. But out of that 500, I would cook it up and I would sell each gram to the white boys for $100. I would sell each gram for $100 to the white dudes. And I had white dudes age. I had good customers, man. I didn't have these fucking nickel and dime doping customers. I had those too, right? At the trap. I had those, but I had my main customers that I would sell $100 gram. I would front them, get my it's like I was working. They were working for me, right? They'd be like, "Hey, man, my check's coming in Friday. Just drop me off some throughout the weekend." By the time the week come in, they owe me $500, right? Today, I was dropping off a gram every day. By the time they get paid, it's $500 in my pocket. So you do the math. I spent 500. I cook it up. I come back with 26, 27. I'm popping off each one for 100. Trying to. Majority of the time I would. So I'll come back with like 23, 24. You know, I would always try to come back with 25. You know, try to pocket two and flip the other five. So the numbers were good for me, man. That's why I mean, instead of breaking down a pound, you break down a pound. I mean, fuck, you get it $50 an ounce, $40 an ounce. It's just not really it's not really too profitable, man. And back then, back when first Dro came around, man, people were selling quarter sacks for 150, man. 7 grams for 150. I remember when people from California were coming down here, man, look, check this out. This is Dro. This is Dro. This is Dro. And it was, man, compared to the Mexican weed that I was smoking, right? Because that's all I was smoking was Mexican weed. And I started seeing all this Dro come around. And I'm like, man, how come these motherfuckers? But Mexico does have some good bud too, man. Mexico has cola de borrego. I've seen like 20 pounds of that, man. 20 pounds. It was like fucking 10 fucking big old, seemed like big old 50-gallon trash bags, man. My brother's like, what the fuck is this? He goes, how much is this? Is this like about 100, man? Seems like, he goes, nah, man, it's just too fluffy. He goes, each bag is about a 1.5. But it was some of the prettiest buds that I ever seen from Mexico, man. Other than most of the time, they were so compact and sticky and skunky that once I started seeing the fluffy ones, you're like, oh man, it's the Dro, and like no seeds, and fell in love with it. Yeah, no, the near. I'm gonna tell you about my near experience. That's when I realized that there is a soul, man. That people don't want to believe it. God, nah, I can't. That see me when I overdosed because I had never done heroin, right? I overdosed because I did something that my body had never tried, and I was already drunk. I was already drunk. I had already drunk a bottle of Alizé liquor. I was already drunk. So when I got to the place that I was going, I thought they were doing coke. Right? I thought they were doing coke because it looked like coke. Right? They were doing lines, but at that time I didn't know that people could cut up the heroin into a pill form. I was used to people shooting up and seeing the black tar. Right? I didn't. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't. I seen white, so I thought they were doing coke. So I went over there. They stepped out, and I went over there and I did me 2 lines. Right? But all I remember after doing that was sitting down, and the next thing I could just see myself in the third point of view. I could see my body laying there. I could see my body sitting. I could see my body sitting there, and I can see everything what's going on in the room, right? Everything's going. I can hear. I can see everything that's going on in the room from a third person. I'm in the corner, right? And I'm seeing everything. I can see myself. I see everybody, and I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? You know what I mean? I can't do nothing. I'm just looking. I'm just an observer, it seems. And then all of a sudden, I hear this tunnel vision, right? Like this fucking. You know how when you travel through high speeds through a tunnel, you hear that velocity, or you hear that turbojet, or you ever hear a turbojet go over your head and you hear that sonic boom, you go. right? That's how it felt, man. It felt like I was going through a portal, like through I guess a dimension, right? In other words, would be like in a dimension at a fast pace, like, boom. And then when I came to, my eyes open, and it was the paramedic. He was on my chest, right? I had a paramedic. I'm like, man, I can't breathe. Get off my chest. I can't breathe. He goes, look, he goes, I'm gonna get off your chest, but are you okay? I'm like, yeah, man. I said, I think I had a gun, and I don't know what else I had in my pocket, right? I think I had some Xanax or he goes, I said, man, I got some stuff in my pocket. He goes, I threw it away. He goes, don't worry about that. He goes, I'm just worried about saving your life. I don't care about what you have in your pockets. I threw whatever you had in your pockets away. So he's like, what did you take? I said, I don't know, man. I don't know. He goes, look, I shot you up with. I still got the syringe mark on my arm, man. Where it's a big old gauge, right? They shot me up with like a big old adrenaline shot of, I don't know what it was, but it was an actual shot to my arm, to my, like, right. And I still see the dot, right, the scar of the gauge, and I'm like, oh, that's where they hit me up at, right? And I see it, I can still see it. So when he did that, it brought me back up. He's like, it must have been heroin. He goes, because that's what that's what you responded to. I said, oh, I don't know. He goes, I told him, I said, maybe I did some Xanax and some alcohol. He goes, man, he goes, you got to thank God, man, that you're this coherent right now with me, that you're still able to hold a conversation. He goes, because it took us, from the time we got the call, it took us 2.5 minutes to get to you, right? That's when we received the call. And it took us 2.5 minutes to get to you. We don't know how long you've been out of air. You know, we don't know how long you've been passed out, but I would be thinking that it's been more than 5, 6 minutes, because we just got the call, and so in reality, man, because I could hear, them contemplating on what to do. Don't call the cops, don't call the cops, because the cops are gonna call. Don't call the ambulance. Give him some milk. Give him some milk. And the other one's like, nah, he can't fucking. He's gonna fucking choke. He can't even fucking breathe. How are we gonna give him some milk? He can't even swallow. We're gonna fucking choke him. You know what I mean? So I'm hearing all this shit playing out, right? And I'm watching it. I'm watching it. And it's happening, and I can't do nothing, right? So that's when I realized, man, fuck, there is a soul. There has to be. There has to be a fucking soul. What the fuck was I? What the fuck was I experiencing? What the fuck was I watching then? What the fuck was I watching from a third point of view? How the fuck, if I'm passed out, I'm looking at myself down. I'm looking at the whole room. So man, that's when I realized, oh man, that's what I said. Oh man, there has to be a God. I don't know what it is, but there something to the truth that we do have a soul. There is something. So that's when, I kind of started believing in God more. You know what I mean? Like there is something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what religion it is. Uh, I don't know, right? All I know is that my experience told me, hey, that there is a soul. And if them people wouldn't have saved me, let's say I would have died, right? You know, uh, the paramedic wasn't gonna be able to bring me back. Then, what the fuck was I gonna become? My body was gonna be gone. But if I'm still floating in the fucking sky and seeing myself, I didn't see no fucking light. I didn't see no welcoming signs that come in, or hey, I didn't see no light like how people claim, hey, I seen a bright light, or welcoming sign. I didn't see none of that shit. All I seen was my body was gonna be floating and just be a wandering soul, right? That's what I got to the conclusion of. What the fuck was gonna happen to me? If I could see myself on that chair as a spirit, nobody else could see me. Where the fuck was I going? If I wasn't going to heaven, I wasn't going to hell. I could see everything was going on around me. So the only thing that I came to, I was going to become a wandering soul. So it's I don't know, man, because it's a lot of people say that when you're clingy and you're attached to stuff, you can't go to the next level, man. So maybe I was gonna have to repeat my life all over again as karma, either insect or I don't know what, or maybe another kid being born. I don't know, man. But I came to the sad reality that like, what the fuck would I became? What would I become if my body was no longer livable in it, right? It was no longer livable in it. Now I was just a fucking I don't know what I was, man. Other than a soul or a spirit, a wanderer. And that comes to the harsh reality, man, that you don't want to live that way, man. That there is another place that you want to go to that place. And to me, all that did was solidify that hey, there is something out there, man. You know, there has to be some truth to what all these ancestors and say about spirits, and something has to be truth, man. I experienced it, and I'm not here to tell people, hey, believe me, or change your life. No, man, I'm just doing it for me because I, you know, people have to experience stuff themselves for them to make a. Because I've always been the type of guy that you have to show me for me to believe you, right? I've always been like, oh man, you have to show me, man. You can tell me you're a millionaire until I see you roll up in a Rolls Royce or something. Then I'll take you seriously. Like, so maybe that was God's way of showing me, hey, you're hard headed. Here goes your only one chance. Take it for what it is. And not everybody gets blessed to see that, man. I see it as a curse and a blessing as everything, right? I could have died, but at the same time, it opened up my eyes. It opened up my eyes to something out there. And a lot of people don't get that opportunity, man. People are going to continue living their life doubting if there is something really out there. I've been answered, I've been to me, I feel there is something. It's been shown to me. But not everybody's going to be able to experience that. I put myself in that situation, right? I was intoxicated. I did a substance that I didn't know what I was doing. And I guess that's why people do that aguayesca. They open up portals and dimensions in their minds that I don't know, man. I used to do I used to do as a kid, before I started smoking weed as a kid, I used to do this thing called tolly water, right? Which is basically like gas fluid or not bombing fluid, but some kind of fumes that, gasoline, you do enough and it gets you some type of way. But it's you hallucinate, right? So you go on like almost like on an acid trip with them, and you see. I've had visions of seeing like a fly. You know how a fly sees multiple. It says a fly has multiple eyes, man. Like it's like each a little screen, man. And I fucking had visions of seeing my life on multiple screens, man. It's tripped out, man. It's tripped out. I don't recommend anybody to try to experience anything to try to find it, but it's out there. I'll be back, y'all. Uh, I got my kid. He wants to go to fucking Chuck E. Cheese and bugging the shit out of me. And I guess I gotta go over there. And the only game I play at Chuck E. Cheese, man, is that fucking that little. There's a little coin slot machine game that you don't win nothing. You don't win nothing but fucking. The coins fall. You try to knock the coins down. Oh shit. Nah, man. I say probably. I say, man. like like if you would do a if you seen somebody do a line of coke average, like a line of coke, like I did like two little line coke. So if you can measure two little lines of coke, like not no Scarface lines, not no rails, just like two little lines just to pick you up, just say I'm drunk, because that's what everybody does, man. Everybody that's been in that environment says, hey man, I'm drunk. You got a little bit of bumps. Let me get a little bump to get pick me up, get me home. It wasn't no more of and that's why it had the effect it had on me, right? Because I was already intoxicated with alcohol. I was already breathing shallow. So when I did them lines, I fucking it just took me out, man. It just because usually when you're drunk, man, you're already when you're already drunk and about to pass out, man, and you want to continue the party, you're just asking for it, man. Just go to sleep. And that's what I should have did, man. I should have just gone there and probably passed out, right, from being drunk, right? But I seen these guys partying, and I said, oh, man, let me get a bump. And that's what happened, but to me, it's a life experience, because I've never been a junkie, man. I've never been a junkie. Never, never. Uh, have I experienced drugs? Yes, I have. I've tried them. I've tried them. I've tried them all, right? From smoking primos, everything that there is, I've tried it, right? It's kind of hard not to, man, when you're around it, right? And then you might have a friend, hey man, roll it up, freaking hit harder. So you go, okay, you try it, and it's not for you, right? It's not for you. Me, uh, I'm more of a downer, man. I don't like uppers. I can't. I'm already paranoid as it is, right? I already have a mental issue, right? Of you know a mental disability. I already have a condition, right? So any kind of stuff that's going to stimulate that paranoia, I don't fuck with it. I don't. I don't. I mean, even when I drink Red Bulls, like I recently started drinking Red Bulls because I don't have no energy, right? My health, I'm tired. Uh, and I say, fuck it, let me drink an energy, and it picks me up to where it gives me the shit, the shakes, right? I'm like shivering, and I'm like, I don't like that. It gets my heart beating like I'm about to do a crime. Nah, that's too much, man. That's too much. You gotta stay off of that, man. You gotta stay off of that. It kind of sucks, man. It sucks, man. Because I had a cousin, man. He passed away, right? And this guy, his dad's a millionaire, right? His dad's a millionaire. There's no ifs buts about it, right? This man got he got six big old tire shops, man. Big old tire distribution shops. It's not only tire shop, it's alignment, muffler. It's like a little Mexican shopping center in each one of he got, right? It's not no fucking little fucking gasoline turned into a fucking tire shop. Nah, this is a fucking distribution structured buildings, with different buildings inside of a building that he creates every building he goes. Almost like a Mexican type of style building, man. With he ain't never had for no wants, man. His dad even gave him his own tire shop, man. When he was I think he was 22, 21, man, 23. His dad gave him his own tire shop, man. Right? So here you go. This is you. You're about to start your family. Woo, 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 woo. But he couldn't kick the habit, man. Ever since at a young age, he grew up in East Dallas, right? East Dallas is like the borderline of South Dallas, right? So he grew up with a lot of blacks, right? Because he grew up on the border of East and South Dallas, right? So he he picked up being a drug addict at a very young age, man. Because that's who he was surrounding himself with, right? That's who was around that time. And him having money, people knew that his dad had that tire shop. Would always, hey, come over here, kick it with us, kick it with us. So he became, at a young age, man. And it's sad to say, man, that he played with his life multiple times, man, multiple times. It got to the point that he even shot himself in the mouth one day, right? He shot himself in the mouth, man. He survived that. He kept on playing with his life. On the last time he was able to drive himself, man, he was overdosing and he was able to drive himself up to the emergency room and he collapsed, right? He collapses as soon as he got to the hospital, his body gave out and he went into a coma, man. He never woke up again, because he didn't want to let it go, man. So it kind of sucks, man. People just need to let it go, man. We all have testimonies, man. We all have what we did in the past and what we participated and what we did, and uh, that's not me no more, man. That person was somebody that was there maybe 26 years ago, going on 30 years ago, man. That now I see myself as a father. You know what I mean? A husband, a a guide or a protector. You know what I mean? It's not about me no more. It's about my kid. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not. I'm not a sociable person, man. I don't like being around. I don't like going to the mall. I don't like going anywhere. I don't like going anywhere in public, man. I have bad anxiety. I don't like being around a lot of people, especially a lot of people I don't know. But I do it for my kid. You know what I mean? I do it for him. You know, it ain't his fault that I put myself through all that stuff at a young age. That I basically dramatized myself. Right? I basically gave myself all these disabilities. Right? My mental disabilities are self caused. You know what I mean? I come from a good mother, good father. Good home. I just chose the wrong side of the town. I mean, I just all right, y'all. I'll be back. Y'all have a good one. Yeah, don't we all, man? Don't we all?